I loved this movie, and honestly, I kept thinking the entire time, I can't wait for my dad to see it because he's such an active person. I can't wait.
I think you had the exact same reaction that a lot of us do. It's like, oh man, my dad's gonna love this.
Knowing what you did know going into filming and all of this research that you did, how was it in between takes, and how did you make it a little less heavy and get a little bit more?
I mean, when you're working with Ricky Whittle and Luke Hemsworth and Liam Hemsworth, it's all just good times all the time. I mean, those guys are like they're light and they're fun, and we're having a good time and cracking jokes and watching those guys eat a pound of meat every 20 minutes. I think given the explosions and the battles and the close quarter combats, we were all just laughing, and stretching. Us old guys, we kind of have to stretch out a little bit more. So we would nap. We'd sit in the tent sometimes and like in between takes, just like take a nap because you're rucking around like 40 or 50 extra pounds of gear and you're going up and down this hill and you're just kind of moving. So like I said, you're taking calories in, you're resting when you can. Kind of felt like, real military without the threat.
Who was the comic relief on set? Who was the one that was
Ricky
cracking?
Whittle. Ricky Whittle. He's devilishly funny. He's just a good time. He's got such a good spirit, good heart. All these guys, all the boys have good heart, but I think Ricky was the one that was constantly cracking jokes, constantly cracking up. And then Liam Hemsworth was matching it. So to watch those two kind of go tit for tat, it was a lot of fun. Liam and I would just kind of sit back and watch those two and just crack up.
Favorite Hemsworth? I loved
Nope.
that they were together in this.
I was gonna say I can't do it.
No.
I love them all equally. As similar as they are in the way of a Hemsworth, they're also so unique. They're all very different. Like I look at Luke and I'm like, oh, I can very much see how he's the older brother leading the way. And I've met Chris a few times and I see, Chris is like, gone out and done his own thing as like the middle child. And then there's Liam, who's just deep with emotion, but they're all so unique, but they all fundamentally have this just good spirit and kindness and heart and protective quality. They're a good family. Mom and Dad Hemsworth did well.
I mean, talking about your cast, I will say I watched the movie and I was just thinking to myself, are Russel Crowe and all of these other incredible actors not going to actually see each other? Did you meet? There was no scene, so.
No, never met Russell. Never met him. It was a bummer. It's hard when you do a Russel Crowe movie and you don't get to work with Russel Crowe. But that doesn't make the experience any less. I still, admire the guy and love what he did in the movie and am proud of the work and everything. But he, did get to work with him. It was just, me and the boys on the ground. Russell was making his own movie. Then they just kind of pasted it all together.
Did you love being in an action movie? I can only imagine that you probably had some action
I
stars.
did.
What are
I
some of
did.
your favorite action movies and action stars?
I think Die Hard may be one of my all-time favorite action movies, with of course Bruce Willis. Armageddon, a lot of big story in that one. Again with Bruce Willis, the great Billy Fichtner in that one too, and a whole cast of characters. But I mean, action films are what I grew up on. With Stallone and Schwarzenegger and all those things, and you just have this cool kick-ass character and a cool kick-ass story, a tight 90 minutes. And so when this popped up, it was kind of flexing a different muscle than I was used to. I'm used to family drama. It also gave me an opportunity to very respectfully play some guys that I knew. I spent a lot of time with active duty military, spent a lot of time with veterans, Gold Star families, so families that had lost loved ones to combat. Specifically spent a lot of time with Army Special Forces guys. To play a character who's been trained in that discipline, it was an honor, and I wanted to get it right, and I wanted to do right by those that wear the uniform, knowing a lot of them.
I'm obviously a huge fan of This Is Us, and This Is Us, you play a character where we kind of go into it knowing that Jack was going to pass away and everything, and this again is a character of yours that does, have a similar fate without giving it too much away. How do you approach these characters in a way that you live in them in the present and not necessarily thinking about their ending?
I mean, it's kind of just like life, right? Like we all know we have an end. We don't know when it's going to happen. So why not live life fully? Why not experience what these characters are experiencing at such a level that you were really invested in them? I think it was important, that very first opening scene with myself and Liam, when he's deciding between Frosted Flakes and Fruit Loops. And I say, go to Fruit Loops. My daughter loves them. bam, the guy's already humanized. You know, you already understand. You could take him out of that uniform and be like, oh, he's just a dad. He's got a little girl. Oh man, I want to see his journey. I want to root for him. I want to see how this goes. You know, so I think that's a lot of it. You know, you know what the end is for these characters, and you know that any of us are going to have an end, but you don't know exactly what it is. So you kind of have to just, you know, live your life fully and be a good person and enjoy yourself. That's my job as an actor, is get people to invest in the characters. And when they invest, like, man, is it a heartbreaker when you know what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. And this one was such a whirlwind for your character and twists and stuff. Wow. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's it for me. Thank you so much for chatting with
Awesome.
me. Can't
Yeah,
wait for my dad to
likewise.
see it. I'm so
Yeah,
excited.
yeah, that's awesome.